To all those people watching, I would like to remind everyone that this video is not made strictly for kids. It is for older fans and adults too. Enjoy the fucking video! This video is brought to you by my loyal patrons. Register now at any tier to watch new videos 1 month in advance before they're made public. Link is in the description. After his runaway with Edward's trucks, Topham Hatt had sent Tomas to Wellsworth so Edward could teach him all about them. This means that there was no pilot engine to look after the trucks and coaches at Vicarstown. Fortunately, Topham Hatt had purchased a new engine. However, he was very different. Engines, meet Stafford. He'll be the new pilot engine here. The engines looked towards the strange-looking new engine. His body was made of wood, he had no funnel, and wasn't making any steam. "Hello," he said to the other engines happily. "If you don't mind us asking, Stafford, what are you?" asked Henry. I was wondering if you caught my appearance. I am an electric engine that runs on batteries." "Batteries?" replied Gordon, who felt most impressed. "Indeed I am." And so Stafford went on to do his work. However, he could be a bit slow. James didn't really care about the new engine at first, but with a slow speed he was getting very annoyed. "Hurry up, slow coach," he barked. "Haven't got all day to lay about." Tomas was at least quicker with his shunting. Even the troublesome trucks agreed. "I wasn't designed to go fast, James," replied Stafford crossly, but James just huffed and he snorted away with his goods train. Honestly, there's no reason with him or the trucks. Next time they're acting up, I'll just ignore them. If you ever visit the island of Sodor and are interested in the stories from the various railways, then you should visit the Railway Archives. It's a treasure trove of stories over the years with all of the engines across the island of Sodor, big or small. Let's take a look at all the stories that are a blast from the past for the engines of Sodor. But try as he might, James and the trucks were still criticizing him. "Come on," James groaned. "Come on, come on, come on," repeated the trucks. Then they started to tease him for his slowness. "Come along, snail," James jeered. "Yeah, come on, turtle. A rabbit would do your job much faster," teased the trucks. But Stafford continued to ignore them. But little did he realize that the longer he ignored the trucks, the more troublesome they become, and not just to him. One day, James was to take a goods train to the other end of the line. Stafford collected his train and pushed it towards him. "Hurry up, Mr. Snail! We'll be at the station by midnight at this rate!" And the trucks laughed, but Stafford still ignored them. This made the trucks cross, so they wanted him to be sent packing. They soon devised a plan. "When we get to the hill, listen to my call," whispered the lead truck. Later the guard blew his whistle and waved his green flag, and James puffed away, not realizing the trucks' plan. They came to Gordon's Hill, and this is where the trucks were to put their plan into action. "Now!" cried the lead truck. "Hey, what? Brakes, driver, brakes!" The driver slammed on the brakes hard. It worked, but with James's speed and the truck surging him on and on, the brake blocks couldn't hold, and with them being made of wood, they soon caught fire. "Help! Help!" he shouted and whistled an alarm. Meanwhile, Tomas was shunting in the yards and heard James's whistle. "Help! Help! He called and raced through the station with black smoke beneath his wheels.
They're pushing me! They're pushing me! On! Faster, faster! I don't want to go any faster!
And soon he was gone. "I like to teach those trucks a lesson," said Thomas the tank engine. Presently a bell rang in the signal box, and a man came running. "James is up the line! The breakdown train! Quickly!" he shouted. Later that day, Thomas brought James back to Vicarstown. And after that, he brought James's tender and the unhurt trucks into the yards. Topham Hatt then asked them why they had done such a thing. However, with the trucks living up to their name, they didn't want to be held responsible and carried on with their plan.
"It was Stafford, sir," they said.
"He was being terrible to us! He bumped us when we were on our best behaviour!" I'd never seen Stafford acting up, but I may have to talk to him about it. The trucks knew they made it up and giggled that Topham Hatt had fallen for it. However, James had fallen for it too.
"That's Stafford," he hissed to himself.
Stafford returned to the yards after shunting coaches and trucks to the station. He soon saw James in his very sorry-looking state.
"James!"
called Stafford in surprise.
"What happened to you?"
"You did this," James hissed. Stafford was confused.
"What did I do?"
he asked.
"You made the trucks misbehave and they took it out on me for no reason. You're a danger to us and I want you gone, now!" he snapped.
Stafford felt hurt by such an accusation. But quietly, the trucks giggled as Stafford rolled away.
"He'll be gone soon,"
they whispered. And the news about Stafford being responsible for James's accident started to get around. Poor Stafford wanted to tell his side of the story, but was afraid that no one would believe him. Sadly, because of the news, even he started to think that he may have harmed James. And now, rumour began to circulate that Stafford may be sent away back to the mainland. Edward puffed into the yards delivering some empty cattle vans from Wellsworth. He had met Stafford a few times before and had gotten on well with him. But he could see Stafford looking sad, and knew why. "I had heard of those rubbish stories, Stafford. Don't beat yourself up, but you should try and defend yourself."
"But that's my problem, Edward. I don't know how. I was always told just to ignore the problem and not to cause a scene."
"Well, unfortunately, the trucks didn't understand that, I'm afraid. In order to come clean, you have to stand up for yourself. Just try and do it." Later that day, Stafford was shunting some trucks around the yards when he heard a voice from a different siding. "Oh yeah, it was definitely us. We did it so he could be sent away because he'd been ignoring our teasing. We wanted to get a reaction from him, but couldn't and wanted him gone. We don't want an engine who ignores us." This made Stafford cross, and then he remembered what Edward had said to him earlier. He'd later collected the truck. "What am I needed for?" he asked. "Just an inspection," replied Stafford. "The inspector just wants to check if there's any overlooked damage from the crash last week." So the truck waited and waited, and soon Stafford arrived, with Topham Hatt both looking very stern. "Sir," began Stafford, "I heard from this truck that he and his friends were the ones responsible for James's accident, not me." No, not true, sir," retorted the truck nervously. "Oh, really?" replied Stafford crossly. "I heard that you wanted to send me away from this railway because I ignored your teasing. You lot are known for that here, and I dealt with some on my old railway." "Well done, Stafford. I never had doubted you. As for you," he turned to the truck, "I will not tolerate your behaviour towards James and Stafford. You were the cause of this accident and wanted to blame an innocent engine for such a thing. You and the other unhurt trucks will be taking scrap until further notice." "So I won't be sent away?" asked Stafford. "Of course not," replied Topham Hatt happily. "I've seen you shunting trucks with the most respect, and I would never send my engines away based on a silly lie." Stafford was very happy. When James returned from the works, he apologized to him for his teasing, and the other engines apologized for blaming him. Stafford continued to work hard, but then Topham had made a deal with the LMS Railway for running rights to Barrow on the mainland, and with that the facilities at Vicarstown weren't needed, and all of the workload was transferred to Tidmouth. With the potential heavy demand to serve the people of Sodor, Topham wasn't sure if Stafford was up for the job due to his speed and the excessive weight of the trucks and coaches. So it was decided that another engine was needed for the work in the yard. This didn't please the big engines as they had to fetch their own trains and ended up going on strike. To make them happy, he let Edward look after the yard and shunt the trains. But the big engines were still not happy, and Edward was needed at Wellsworth, and the big engines were shut up in the shed for their bad behaviour. But in the end, Topham had found a new tank engine, and the big engines learned their lesson. As for Stafford, he was sent to the Sodor Times' head office at Suttery. He takes vans of newspapers from the yards to the station nearby in the early mornings, ready for the engines to take to all the stations so they can be placed on newsstands for the passengers to read. And he still does that to this very day.